Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Berean. And today we got some interesting news. Disney Plus, Max, and Hulu are going to release a bundle package together. Now, this is not the first time something like this has happened, but it is the first time two separate companies have done this. So let's wind back a little bit and get a little information behind us so we can better understand what's going on here. Netflix was obviously the pioneer in the streaming industry. They started it all. They created the platform, the infrastructure to do this. And for a long time, a lot of companies were making money because they were licensing their movies to Netflix, and that is a great return on investment. And they thought, oh, well, instead of doing just a little bit here and a little bit there, let's get all the money from this. Let's get more. Slowly realizing that, hey, to do our own costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of investment in infrastructure, programming. They have the catalog, but to build the platform itself is expensive. Netflix did it first, and they're trying to copy them. And so some of the streaming services look really good. Some are really bad. Some did some weird things. So a lot of these smaller ones started popping up, and a few of the bigger names like Max started, like HBO back then, started doing it. But we had so many different things popping up, and it was just kind of like streaming has been the wild west of media, in my opinion. And it's because there's so many different paths to take. Now, after Netflix launched, we got Hulu. Now, this was probably the smartest strategy for all the major corporations, all these legacy media companies, to compete directly with Netflix. They all invest into one company, into one platform, have their stuff there, reap benefits. That means they're making maybe a little bit more money, but not having to commit so much financial resources to it as if they built their own. So Hulu, in idea, was great. And I still think this is probably the best strategy going forward from this point on, but we'll have to see. Eventually, Disney bought Fox, which meant it owned about 60%, 70% of Hulu, gathered together with all its subsidiaries, and just bought out Comcast. So Disney outright owns Hulu now. And so Disney did a package for a while that was Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. And boy, did they push it a lot. And I'm like, why would I pay more for... At the time, I had Disney Plus for my kids and Hulu, and I was like, I don't watch sports. I do occasionally, but not enough to justify owning the service. So I was like, okay, I'm not in. It doesn't save me money because I would never use it. I'd rather pay close to that, but still save a few bucks a month. Not going. It's like when Spectrum, all of us have had Spectrum internet for years, and it's like, oh, you can get TV and phone and internet bundled all together, and you save so much money. I was like, yeah, but I save even more by not getting your crappy cable service and really crappy phone service. I'll just stick with the internet until a better provider shows up in my neighborhood, and it did, and I left. Bye, Spectrum. So what I initially thought probably about 2-3 years ago was it's going to, after all the major studios started making their own platforms, was eventually we'd see a new formation of something like Hulu. We haven't seen it yet. I still think this is probably the best way to do it, in my opinion, but I don't know if it will come to fruition. What we're seeing here is what I did not expect. And the reason I thought that way is because DC, under Warner Brothers, launched its own DC Universe streaming service, and it had its entire comic catalog that you can view and read online or through the app. And I signed up for it day one. And then they started adding new content, and they're slow. They realized they had so many contracts with Netflix and other places like Hulu that they couldn't put all their DC content back into DC Universe. and eventually just decided, okay, we scrap it, and we just moved it all. They moved it all to Max, and so that streaming service stopped, and it just became the comic book service, which you can still get today. Uh, but I was there because I wanted all the DC animation in one place, which I thought was great. And it's mostly there on Max, but you've got a few holes here and there. So that's okay. So you see some the bigger companies absorbing some little ones, and that's what I thought would happen. Just streamlining, making them into bigger ones, and we'd probably have maybe 3 to 4 big streaming services. Nope, but we kept getting more and more. Then we got Peacock, and we got Paramount Plus, we got MGM Plus, and we got so many other ones. But you do still have the niche ones like Shudder, that I have lots of friends that just love just the horror stuff, and so they sign up for Shudder. And there's other smaller ones like they had a WWE one that got absorbed, I think, by Max. I forgot who absorbed that one, or maybe Warner Brothers. One of them, someone absorbed it. There used to be a lot of smaller ones, tons of smaller ones, and they've been absorbed by their larger parent company into their system. So now we are getting companies working together, not doing the Hulu model per se, still putting in all their money and resources in keeping up to date, doing maintenance, and keeping up performance of their own platforms. This is a very costly expense for these legacy media groups, and I'm not sure how long it's going to last. ESPN Plus lost a ton of money, which I think is why Disney was kind of like, we got to come up with something else. And Warner Brothers lost a ton of money this first quarter. Thank you, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Yeah, that $200 million loss really hurt Warner Brothers this past quarter. And so now Zaslav, I forget how to pronounce his name, but he's a money guy. He doesn't really care about content. He cares about the bottom line, period. And that's how he's running Warner Brothers, is bottom line. Not content, not IPs, nothing like that. It's all about the bottom line. So I think that's why we're seeing the Warner Brothers, the Max, and the Hulu and Disney bundle. So it'd be, you pay one subscription fee, probably get the same login to log into each service, or they may kind of do it like some of the services now. You just pay for the edition, and you log into one streaming portal, and you click on another button, and boom, it takes you to the other one. Things like that. I'm not sure how it's going to be situated, and we don't know the pricing yet. So, because I think, did it speculate? I think the article Variety speculated what they thought, and I think it was in the 30s. I'm looking for the number. I don't see the number, but I did think. Yeah, there it is. They're expecting it to be like a $36 a month cost for this bundle. I mean, the old bundle was definitely a Disney bundle if you did all that, but this is cable 2.0. You pick the bundle of the channels, like we always complain about cable. Just let us pick the channels. We don't want the package with 200 channels. We only watch 6. Let us pay for those 6. So this is kind of what we wanted for years when streaming didn't exist and cable did. And we're like, yeah, that's great. We've got 150 channels, but we watch 6, 5, 4, whatever. And now we're kind of getting it, but we're not getting it at the fraction we should. So $36 a month for 3 streaming services, I would say, is a deal. Because now they're hopping around $15 to $20 a month. And I mean, yeah, Max is $16. Disney Plus and Hulu is $20 each. And I became very concerned. When streaming came out, I wanted to consume all this new content from stuff. But after about 3 or 4 months, I realized this is a bit ridiculous. So I have a personal rule: is 3 streaming services at a time. Period. Right now it's Netflix, Hulu, and Max. And now that Shogun's over, I'm going to drop Hulu and pick up Crunchyroll. For the summer, at least, with my kids here, we love anime, and it's something we all enjoy to watch together. So I'm going to pick up Crunchyroll this summer, and then at the end, I may drop it, pick Hulu back up. The only reason I have Hulu is for two reasons. Fox Animation, except for The Simpsons, that's on Disney Plus. Fine, don't care. Simpsons lost me several seasons ago. And the FX catalog. The FX catalog is amazing. FX was just like a forgotten channel that Fox and now Disney didn't really do anything. And every time they put out something, it's great because Shogun was amazing. I mean, I'm about to go watch it again, and there's rumors that season 2 may be coming. So that's kind of what they're doing now. So we may see more of this. There have been rumors that Peacock and Paramount Plus have been talking a deal, and my initial thought was they were going to combine just their catalogs and have one streaming platform to view it from, but it may not be that way. It may be something similar to this. And I do think this is one of those, you could cut costs if you went through the Hulu model. But that's my opinion. I don't have the details. I think it'd be better for more subscribers to be like, okay, instead of paying, hey, you get this, $36 a month, you get access to all three of these, or hey, you pay $25 a month and you get what used to be these 4 streaming services now on this new, whatever you want to call it. I think you're going to have a easier sell with that than trying to be like, oh, look, you get a discount for 3 services. And even, it was Zaslav, who was it said? It wasn't Zaslav, it was someone else. It was one of the Peretti. But one of the representatives was saying, "Oh, the end user will still feel like they're saving money even if they don't watch a certain streaming service that month. They still feel like they're saving money." Yeah, that's called playing on the delusion of people. It feels like it, but they're not. That's like having a gym membership, but you never go. Well, I go sometimes. Fine, cancel it till you decide to sign back up again. I mean, I'm not going to pay for a streaming service I don't physically watch at least once a month. I mean, I was going to say once a week, but I probably go a week or two where I don't watch Hulu or Netflix or Max. I bounce around. Plus, I have my own digital catalog through Vudu, which I guess is now Fandango at Home, because they've been bought out for the 4th time, I believe. But I have my entire catalog of movies and TV shows, which if I decided to cancel all my streaming services, I'm good for quite a while. And that's just one of those, what are you going to do? I don't know. And this is kind of the state of streaming services. Everything's going to be in flux except for 2. And that's going to be Netflix and Amazon. Amazon is just one of those, I don't know what it'd take to end Amazon Prime Video. I think they will pump money into it even if it loses money, because they continue to destroy intellectual properties they own and continue to do other things that just don't make sense when it comes to streaming services. And of all of them, it has the worst user interface. I absolutely hate it. Because I'm like, oh, it says this one's free. Oh, nope, I click on it. Nope, I got to rent it. Oh, nope, I got to start this free trial with this other service to watch this. I hate it. I don't have that with Netflix or Hulu. It's like, you got it? Boom, done. I don't have to add anything. Well, you can do add-ons with Hulu, but if you don't set it up that way, it doesn't work that way. So Netflix is going to be around for a while. I do think if they raise their price point one more time, I'm going to have to bow out. Because, I mean, it's a little high. I mean, when it started, it was reasonable. I mean, I was Netflix subscriber when it was the DVDs. I mean, so I've seen the progression and I see where it's going, and they're taking some turns I didn't expect, and that's okay. But I do think some of these turns are the wrong move, from my opinion. Like, you can't say this bundle. If you created a service that allows you to pick and choose which bundles, that's another possibility. You have the streaming portal, and that would be you go to the portal and you can pick 3 streaming services for $36 a month, and you pick which 3 you want. Now that I get on board for, but I don't want Disney Plus. I own physical and digital copies of all the good Marvel material and the good Star Wars material, and I don't need any of this other stuff they've been putting out. They lost me a long time ago. I think I canceled my subscription over a year ago, and I haven't watched anything. And they thought bringing Doctor Who would bring some of us nerds back, and then but we saw what they were doing with Doctor Who, and we're like, nope, never mind, still not going to come back. So this is kind of the state, this is the flux we're in. So over this next year, we're going to see some weird stuff from streaming services. We're going to see some mergers and things like that. And if anyone, I can't really find the details on this, so if anyone out there knows or can explain to me why this is why MGM Plus exists. And the reason I ask this is because Amazon bought MGM, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. Why it's not part of Amazon Prime is beyond me. And the only reason I bring this up because they finally made an adaptation, and you can check it out. I did a review of the movie back called The Portable Door, which is a finally screen adaptation of one of my favorite book series. But I know we're not going to get a second one because it was made by MGM Plus, put on MGM Plus, and came out on Amazon Prime like 2 months later, 3 months later, I forget how long. And then boom, it doesn't have that much traction. It was never promoted. Like, I only knew it existed because I was looking up Sam Neill for something else on IMDb and saw that he had Portable Doors a credit. Found that out. I found it out by complete accident. And so MGM Plus exists, but it's one of those services I think I'm just waiting for it to die. And we've got a lot of these little services like that should be huge or should be moved into their parent company, but it's just a hole. That's why I think Amazon will literally pump money into their streaming service until the day streaming services no longer exist, because they want to have name recognition in that market space, period, in a discussion. So if someone can explain that MGM Plus thing and why it still exists, I've looked and I've done some research, and everything I've kind of read doesn't quite make sense to me. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to figure it out, but I'm sure it has to do with licensing and contracts that go back decades before, and maybe it's some antitrust thing. I don't know, but I haven't figured it out yet. So we've got things like that. So the 2024 is going to be the weird streaming convergence of services and things that are going on that we really don't know about, and we don't know how it's going to look. But I do think that Netflix and Amazon will stand alone and not lose what they're doing, because Amazon won't let it, and Netflix is actually doing better than most of the streaming services. They're profitable, more profitable than any other streaming service, but that's not saying a whole lot, because they had so much investment capital that they on the books, they're just making money hand over fist. And now that all those bills are coming due, now it's like, oh, we're really not making that much money. And they were making a lot more money when they weren't making their own content. That's a fact. They were making a lot more when it was just a repository of other studio catalogs. So now we've got this to wonder what's going to happen. What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen? Honestly, I don't know. This merger, this bundle from 2 different companies going in together, I didn't see coming. I thought, oh, they'll do like the Hulu model. So I'm questioning all my theories on what thought streaming would be happening. I mean, I I wrote an ebook about it a while back that I've taken off Amazon since because so much changed, and I don't want all my bad theories published on there. And so, I mean, a lot of what I thought, about 33% of what I thought 3 years ago, is actually happening. 66% of it is just like, wow, did not see that coming. But here we are. So I don't know what this is going to be in the next year or two, but we're going to see some weird stuff, I believe. I do think bundles like this are probably what's going to be the industry standard for a couple of years. This is my prediction. And then we're going to see something like the Hulu model come back. Whether that Hulu model shifts back to Netflix and they just start licensing their stuff back to Netflix or to Amazon or to Disney or to Max or something like that. They're just licensing that material to them, the smaller studios to the bigger studios, or some of these bigger studios are just going to start outright buying other ones, which is definitely a big possibility. Because, I mean, I never thought Apple would join the streaming wars, and they sure enough did. But I had Apple Plus free for 3 months thanks to Roku TV. They popped an ad, and I was like, oh, well, I'll do it for 3 months. I had it for 3 months. I didn't watch a thing. I went through the catalog like 2 or 3 times. I was like, ooh, I should watch the Tetris movie. That'll be good. That'll be good. Never ended up watching it. Everyone said Ted Lasso is so great. I'm like, everyone I know has like seen it. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a watch. Never ended up watching it. And then really, those were the only 2 things I kind of held out to hold on. Hopefully my subscription would have lasted till Napoleon hit Apple TV. That was why I was holding on to it, not canceling it like immediately. And I didn't make the mark. My 90 days went before that hit the streaming service. But I mean, Apple TV just seems to be one of those that's like, I don't know. Apple was a wild card I never saw coming. Because, I mean, we all remember YouTube Red. Do y'all remember YouTube Red? Some people do. Some people don't even know it existed. But Google tried it with YouTube Red. YouTube had the infrastructure. Their problem was like Netflix. They didn't have the catalog. So what did they do? They started producing their own content. And the only good show of note that I can recall was Cobra Kai. Yes, Cobra Kai is not a Netflix original. They bought it from Google and from YouTube. So it started out on YouTube Red. And if you thought any other company could have actually made it work, it would have been Google. But they just got to the point where like, yeah, it's not going to work. Google tries a lot of things and they get to a certain point where like, yep, nope, we're not making much advance in this. Boom, we're shutting it down. Remember Google Glass? I always wanted one of those. I really wanted to get my hands on one. Never got it. Never went into full production. They shuttered that. So some companies like Google realize, hey, we're going to try to get into this space. Nope, not for us. We're out. But with so much content and so many different ways to consume it, the end consumer is just like, this is just too much money. This is more expensive than cable. And they're going to start checking out. And they're going to start doing stuff like I do. 3 services, period. That's all I have right now. And, I mean, I'll probably drop something soon. And I've even thought about just dropping Netflix for a while just so I can hop back on Curiosity Stream, which is just it's a small channel, small service that does nothing but documentaries. And I did it last summer. It was really cool because my kids got to watch all these documentaries that are geared towards teenagers and younger kids. And I thought it was great. And I think it was like $15 for the year. I mean, it was dirt cheap. And I was like, all right, it's really interesting stuff. But when my subscription ran out, I didn't re-up it. So it's one of those things that, yeah, there's smaller stuff out there that's cheaper. And we're going to start finding that stuff. The end user is going to be like, well, yeah, we hear about this hit show, but I don't have to watch it. And half the times, if you just follow certain YouTubers, you can get the whole gist of a show in about 3 to 4 videos. You can get an entire season comprised down into a couple hours. instead of spending your time watching 24 episodes or whatever it is. So it's just kind of a weird time. We're going to see a lot of changes, and my predictions really, I don't know. I haven't, I've been guessing wrong in my personal beliefs on what's happening with the streaming services, and doesn't mean I that I'm an idiot, but yeah, I mean, come on, things are things are getting a little weird. Content is dropping in quality and things like that, and Disney's definitely trying to get their numbers back up because they had a horrible quarter, horrible year. I think they said 2023 was the worst year they've had in the streaming industry. There's some article somewhere that was like 2023 was, oh, 2023 was the worst year for Marvel. And I was like, you should go back a couple years. But yeah, so I'm just curious what your ideas are, what your thoughts are, because I just want to talk about this more and try to get more ideas. Just it's fun to try to predict what's going to be at our fingertips 6 months from now, a year from now, and we can be on point, we can be off point. It doesn't matter. We're just having fun speculating and talking about it. So let me know down below what you think. And as always, my friends, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.